from Adelaide Oval, and a very good morning to you if you're listening in the UK through the BBC. Lovely to have your company. Unfortunately, the weather is not playing. There is some light rain that's been falling for the last hour or so. Play is due to get underway in about 9 minutes from now. That won't happen. We haven't yet had a toss, and it looks pretty bleak overhead, to be honest. It's not thundering down or anything like that, but it's persistent. And there'll certainly be a delay to this second Women's Ashes T20 game between Australia and England, with England desperate for a result after being well beaten on Thursday night by 9 wickets with 18 balls to spare. And just to rub a little salt as I look to my right and see Alex Hartley and Henry Moran into the wound at Karen Rolton Oval yesterday nearby, the Australia A team beat England A by 10 wickets with about 15 balls to spare. I look to my left and see former Australian leg spinner Kristen Beams, and she's smiling at that news. Alex, good afternoon. Welcome. Not what we wanted to see. You enjoyed some time at beautiful Glenelg Beach yesterday in the sun. Very different Adelaide today, unfortunately.
It's actually cold today as well. I've got a jacket on, so not what we wanted. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? And I don't know where it sets in. If this is rained out, where do England stand? Because at the minute, if the Test match is a draw, Australia only have to win 2 of the remaining 5 white ball games to retain the Ashes. So it's not looking great for England at the minute.
Well, you get 1 point for an abandoned game, and so Australia would be 3, England 1. Either way you look at it, Henry Moran, welcome to you. England needs a win.
They do, but given the last few weeks as an Englishman in Australia, you take anything you can get.
Yep.
A point on the board would possibly represent something. Well, no, look, we want to see a game of cricket, and England will be desperate to get out there and get off the mark in this series, because they'll have looked at these T20s when that schedule was shuffled around and thought, this is our opportunity. This could be our into the series, because T20 by its nature is slightly less predictable. We know how phenomenally good Australia have been in 50-over cricket. So this was an opportunity, and every T20 game that goes by, you've got to say it probably moves the Ashes both mathematically and psychologically in Australia's favour.
And I wonder if this game is washed out, or if it's 2-0 to Australia after the T20 series, England's going to have to go all out for a victory in the 4-day Test match. So maybe that will work in an entertainment factor in our favour as viewers anyway. Kristen Beams, good afternoon to you once again. A very different story within the Australian camp. Very happy, very chilled after that sensational win on Thursday night.
Good afternoon. Yes, it's probably a very chilled camp in Australia. I'm sure that they're still looking at how they can tweak their team in these T20s, and perhaps looking at what they're doing in the power play and how to maybe get some early breakthroughs. But look, they're sitting pretty at the moment. The Australia A game went their way as well. So looking at their squad as in entirety, I think they'd be pretty happy with how things sit at the moment.
Aaron Bryan is our local identity here, and he's down at ground level. He's had his head stuck in a weather wrap, and he's sitting in the rain. Hey, B, good afternoon to you. What can you tell us about what we may be in for over the next hour or so?
Afternoon, Jibs. I guess the good news at the moment is that the rain is fairly light, but I'm not sure what value it actually holds, considering it's been really persistent and quite erratic. We've had periods of heavy rain for 10 minutes, then back down to light again. The players came out for a warm-up, then decided to go. So I'm not really sure what we're in for, to be honest, today, because the radar doesn't look that promising. There's only a slight break that hopefully will be coming up shortly, but because there's not a lot of wind, the time frame is a bit unknown. From the word from Cricket Australia is that the latest start time can be 3:37, so we've got a couple of hours to work with. So hopefully we can at least get some overs in when that break arrives, and then we'll work from there with the Duckworth-Lewis method. But unfortunately, Adelaide is in this weird state of weather right now where we're getting the remnants of Cyclone Tiffany down from Queensland, and we've had 2 days of 34-degree heat as we saw on Thursday night, and now we're suddenly into this intense rainfall where the regions especially are getting smashed. The Eyre Peninsula has a severe thunderstorm warning. Wyalla's had 82 millimetres of rain in the past 5 hours, so it's 90% humidity here and 21 degrees. We're just getting all sorts, and as I am speaking now, the rain has started to get heavy once again, so it's not looking promising. The good news, I guess, is that the radar is skewing towards the beach, so hopefully we can start to get some play underway shortly. We'll touch base with the Australian cricket camp, hopefully, and see how they're looking, but I guess the news from the warm-ups is that there will be some changes from both sides. It looks like England will be handing a debutant to Charlie Dean, the 21-year-old right-arm off-spinner, and Australia look to get Darcy Brown, the 18-year-old pace bowler, back into the side. So once we get some news from the camps, I'll let you know, Jibs, but at this stage, the weather's just so unpredictable, I can't really give you a definitive answer.
All right, Aaron, we'll stay in touch, and I know, Henry, you've got your head in your weather app as well. The one thing I've learnt through the men's Ashes series is that the radar and the forecasts are generally... we thought we were going to lose 3 days in Brisbane. I know in Sydney, and I'm being a Sydney boy, I was going to say I'm defensive about Sydney weather for cricket. I'm a realist, it's hopeless. But we didn't get anywhere near the amount of washout that we thought. Same probably with Hobart. So I'm going to take the optimistic view. Despite the dark colours you're seeing currently on the radar, I'm hopeful that that's in keeping with some of the radars we've seen that have proven incorrect.
It all has been a little bit surprising at times during the last few weeks. What I would say is, looking at the radar, and if you work in cricket or follow cricket, you'll have all the apps on your phone, and you tend to just find the one that gives you the most promising outlook. But this one I'm looking at from the Bureau of Meteorology has all sorts of colours sort of dribbling all over this part of the world. It looks kind of like a Jackson Pollock painting that's just been hurled up with a whole range of colours. And it's all pretty bleak. You can't really see the outline of the coast or anything like that, but it is shifting. It's not quite as still on the radar as it feels out there. So that gap that we've spoken about, if we get to it, we could get lucky.
Sounds like real cricket weather talk, doesn't it? Alex Hartley, the English team with Charlie Dean coming in, 21-year-old off-spinner. Unfortunately, Sarah Glenn, who's had a phenomenal record in her young international career, got a bit of tap on Thursday night. In your view, what does Charlie Dean bring to the table?
I think Charlie Dean just bowls genuine off spin. She turns the ball. She's an exciting young talent. Hasn't played all that much international cricket. Made her debut in the one-day series against India last summer in the English summer. So she's a genuine off spinner. Yes, Heather Knight can bowl spin, but we saw that over that she bowled the other night, and it wasn't all that great. And I think the thing with Sarah Glenn is, we don't know if she's going to play tonight or what, but I would think that Charlie Dean is going to come in for Sarah Glenn. Sarah Glenn just couldn't quite get things right, and she doesn't really spin the ball, and the Australians took her apart. Like, it was almost really hard to watch at one stage because she just didn't try anything else and just kept putting the ball.
I nearly
on
called
the
her
same
Jack Leak
spot.
at one stage. Sorry, I shouldn't touch
Steady
that word.
on.
Sorry, Henry.
Steady on.
Honestly.
So yeah,
Too soon.
Charlie Dean bats high up the order for her regional team, the Southern Vipers. That's about 3 or 4, and she bowls genuine off spin and gets some turn on the ball.
So you obviously know these players well and the officials well, but are they still not wanting to bring you into the loop because they don't think you can keep a secret?
Honestly, I've been trying to get the team out of about 4 or 5 of them today, and I've not had a reply. Just keep ignoring my message about the team. I'm like, what about this? Is Boucher still injured? No reply.
Wow. So
Who's Dean coming in for? No reply.
they've just read you like a book, haven't they?
Yeah, they don't trust me.
The Australian team, I think we needed a reminder sometimes, Beams, even for Australian cricket fans, of just how imposing a team they can be. Their success is almost just accepted in this country, and they're the T20 world champions, and despite the challenges that come from other nations around the world, especially T20 cricket, but all forms of the game really, they managed to stand up so well. And if ever we needed a reminder of their depth of talent, their ability to overcome any adversity, and England played a nice innings against them, getting 4 for 169, yet the result was never really in doubt after about 5 overs.
Yeah, I think they were lucky to have that really good diversity within their bowling lineup, and I don't think anyone expected Jess Jonathan to get whacked, and I think it's a good sign for any team when one of your best bowlers gets taken, and then all of a sudden Natalia McGrath, who she can't do any wrong at the moment, but comes on and takes wickets and changes the game. But they just have so much variety in that lineup they've got. We're talking about Elise Perry not making this T20 team at all. So when you're leaving out those kind of class players, and you've got a Megan Shoup, prolific swing, you've got Jess Jonathan, who's very, very consistent, you've got pace of Vlamenic, you've got the leg spinner coming in on debut, who I thought did a pretty good job in Alana King. So they've got so many different types of bowlers, and I think when you've got that, it means that 1 or 2 bowlers can have a bad day, and you have to expect that in T20. At least 1 or 2 bowlers are going to get taken. I think on the flip side, England had some bowlers that were a little bit the same. So when 1 gets taken and then 2 and then 3, it becomes more difficult. So having those good options from an Australian point of view, I think has been why we've seen them be so successful.
Yeah, and we don't have confirmation of the Australian team either, but I think we saw Taylor Vlamenic walking around in a moon boot, which doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good at all. She had a moon boot on last time I saw her in Australia as well. So she bowled a good hostile spell at Tammy Beaumont in the first T20, so that doesn't look good, unless Aussies are just playing mind games, because I wouldn't put it past the Aussies,
We like that.
I really hate comparing men's and women's series, but in the men's series, there's so much talk, Henry, about the English planning and some strange field placings and selections and all the rest of it, which is going to be the subject of report and inquiry after report and inquiry. I wonder, though, about the English women's team setup after a result like the other night, where halfway through they would have been feeling pretty good about themselves, and then they get quite the hammering with 3 overs to spare. How much, I mean, is this a setup that is going to have meeting after meeting and revise tactics, or are they more relaxed than that?
I think Lisa Keightley is a really good influence in that regard, and last Ashes series, both in Australia and in England, Mark Robinson was the head coach. Now England have looked to Australia to get a bit of Australian influence into the camp, and Lisa Keightley is she's a relaxed character. She will make sure the team stay calm. But like you, I don't like comparing men's and women's Ashes series, but I'm reminded of something that Joe Root, the England men's captain, said at the start of the Ashes, and that was that he didn't want his side to suddenly blink and it was 4-0 in the series, and actually the series runs away without you even noticing. And that's a real danger for England in this series, given the condensed nature of it. So Heather Knight and her side cannot afford to be in a situation where Australia steamroll them early on and the series is gone, because with Australia having the Ashes, there is no room for that sort of start, because it'll all be done and dusted. If Australia win the first 3 T20s, you're pretty much done and dusted.
What about you, Alex, with your knowledge of these girls, both on the field and off? We know there's some world-class players there, clearly. The character of this squad, can they handle what happened the other night and move on forward in this series?
Yeah, it seems like it. We interviewed Amy Jones yesterday. She was very relaxed. She was saying, you know what, the preparation because of COVID that we've had hasn't been ideal. It doesn't really feel like an Ashes series, and I get that feeling. It doesn't feel like an Ashes series as an England fan and an English person coming over, because it's all been very up in the air. What's going on? The shifting of the schedule hasn't helped, and I think England are saying, yes, it's an Ashes series, but you know what, we haven't had the preparation we want. What will be. And going into a series like this is a good opportunity as underdogs just to go out and play your cricket and prove a point.
If it is a shortened game, Beamsy, what do you think that means to either side? Does it favour one or the other?
I think England will be happy if it's a shortened game. I think top-heavy from a batting point of view, and the experience they have with some of their bowlers, I think they'd be happier. For Australia, they're probably not too fussed. Australia might shift their batting order a little bit, so we might actually see someone like an Ash Gardner come up the line for them. And from a bowling point of view, maybe it's a chance for England to go after Alana King, who'll only be in her second match. So I'm saying England will be happier. England
be happy with a 100-ball game, I reckon.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, we're going to head back to studios very, very shortly. I was about to say, I thought about 60 seconds ago it was just a little bit brighter, but then it's just cricket optimist, I think, talking, because the rain still looks set in. Again, not overly heavy, but I know there are a couple of members of the Australian camp just patrolling the boundary, and they're under the umbrella. There'd be probably only about 1,000 spectators inside the ground at the moment, and they've sought the shelter. The full covers are out there. It's just one of those dim cricket sites that never gets any more fun, does it?
No, and it's one of those where we've been quite a lot at the stage where if they were out there, they'd keep on playing. But since they're not, there's no prospect of getting out there anytime.
Well, my worry is you couldn't have had lighter rain than we had on day one in Hobart, and we lost 2 hours, and that was barely hitting the ground. So anyway, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Henry Moran, Alex Hartley, Kristen Beams. I'm Andrew Moore on Grandstand Cricket. The only thing I can assure you is as soon as there's any news, and we hope it's positive news, we'll be bringing it to you both on ABC Radio and the BBC, and the various listen apps. So stay tuned. We'll go back to some local programming, but whenever there's news, we'll bring it to you right here from Adelaide Oval. It is Game 2 of the Women's Ashes Series, the T20 portion of that between Australia and England, with Australia getting the first 2 points with their 9-wicket win back on Thursday night. Hopefully cricket action soon, but for now, on behalf of the Grandstand Cricket team, we take you back to your local studio. Hello, welcome back to Adelaide Oval through ABC Radio and the BBC. Nice to have your company, and the good news is the covers are off. We're going to get play starting in around 5.5 minutes. Bad news is it's still overcast, and the rotten dirty radar still says there may be some rain to come. Match has been reduced to 14 overs aside. Aaron Bryans has been down at the toss. Let's go down to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Andrew. The toss has just occurred in the middle. Australia has won. Meg, what did you decide to do?
We're going to have a bowl this afternoon.
Whether the reasoning behind that or just tactics?
A little bit of both. It seemed to work well for us the other night. There is a little bit more weather coming, we think, so it's nice to bowl first. Hopefully we can get off to a good start.
Any changes to the squad?
Yeah, Darcy Brown comes in for Taylor Vlamic.
Is that to improve the pace of the attack essentially after Thursday's performance?
Yeah, we think Darcy can play a really big role here. She's had some really good performances here in the past, so hopefully that's today.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
There's Captain Meg Lanning there. So Darcy Brown, the 18-year-old, into the squad for Australia. Performed quite exquisitely at the back end of the India series last summer. Has performed very well in the WBBL to be within the top 5. England captain Heather Knight making her way over. Heather, unfortunately the toss not going your way again, but happy with the decision?
Yeah, look, it is what it is, 50-50, isn't it? I would have done the same as Meg did, but we've got to go out there, get ourselves ready very quickly, quick turnaround, obviously, with a bit of the weather, and hopefully we can get out there, put some runs on the board.
Does it change your tactics at all that you might be out there for 6 overs?
Potentially, I think you can't look into it too much. The radar's a little bit hard to predict, isn't it? So, yeah, we've got to go out there, be aggressive. Sometimes you can go too aggressive in a short game as well, so we've got to make sure we're doing the right things, doing the basics, and then earning the right to go big.
And I understand you've got a debutant today?
Yeah, Charlie Dean comes in for Maya Boucher, so slight change to the balance of our side. Felt like we need an extra bowler.
Best of luck.
Great, thank you.
There you have it, Andrew. Australia have won the toss and elected to bowl.
Aaron, thank you very much. So Darcy Brown does come in. We expected that to happen. We thought perhaps at the expense of Nicola Carey, but Taylor Vlamic does have a foot injury and was seen at the ground in a moon boot earlier today. And Darcy Brown, who doesn't turn 19 until March the 7th, will play just her second T20 international for Australia, having debuted against New Zealand and took 1 for 26 or 4 overs. But she had a mighty WBBL season for the Adelaide Strikers, 20 wickets in 15 games at an average of 16.7 and an economy rate of 6.07. So she was certainly in good form, and she's quick and she swings the ball around. Former England spinner, Ashes tourist, star of the 100 over in the UK is Alex Hartley. Alex is back. So
what an introduction that was.
England batting first, 14 overs aside. How do you think that changes things for England's approach to this game?
I think, like Heather said at the toss, you've got to do your basics well and earn the right to go big, so they can still give themselves a little bit of time at the crease. We saw in the first game, Danny Wyatt and Tammy Beaumont gave themselves a couple of overs, but you probably got a little bit less time, maybe 6 or 8 balls to try and see yourself in, and then you want to go big and try and get as many runs on the board as soon as possible. I mean, if you can go at 10 and over and get 130, you're in for a really good shout. But you say that Australia side absolutely blew England out the water with that run chase the other day, so England are going to have to get a big score on the board.
But that's kind of the mindset for a shortened game, 10 and over?
Yeah, I think, it's the shorter the format, the more freedom you have, because even if you lose wickets, that batting order for England and Australia, they both bat quite deep. Charlie Dean probably going to come in at number 10, or coming in at number 8, on the scorecard. She bats 3 or 4 in domestic cricket, so there's a lot of leeway to go big early.
I don't know about you, Alex, but I've been looking out there at this darkening sky thinking, just get out there and get this started, for goodness sake. And the umpires are on their way out now. Mike Graham-Smith and Bruce Oxenford. The third umpire is Eloise Sheridan. Australian captain Meg Lanning has won the toss and sent England into bat. And remembering it's a 14-over-a-side game. 1 change each. Darcy Brown in for Taylor Vlamic for Australia. Charlie Dean to make her debut at 21 years of age for Maya Boucher, who suffered a knee injury on Thursday night, where Australia won by 9 wickets. And England batting first then in their 20 overs, scored 4 for 169, but a real feature, Alex, was the opening partnership of Tammy Beaumont and Danny Wyatt. Yeah,
they were brilliant at the top of the order. They actually both looked like they struggled against the pace of Vlamic. She comes in bowling quick, so the fact she's injured, right foot injury, she's been seen to be in a moon boot, would be a good thing for England, but they've replaced her with Darcy Brown, who bowls equally as fast. So I think the tactic will be, let's just bowl fast and short at the England players. Tammy Beaumont's a really good puller of the ball, but we saw the other night, once she got hit on the head, she kind of got going a little bit. So if they could sort of bowl chest height, maybe not head height, although she's very small in stature, is Tammy Beaumont. And so is Danny Wyatt, to be fair.
Yes, that's true. One thing I can report faithfully is the pyrotechnics are working.
They are. Do you know what I've been really impressed with? how quickly they've got the covers off and got
Yes.
this game started. Because cricket is one for just dragging on and on and on.
The difference in urgency between this and a test match is chalk and cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, they've literally got the covers off and play started within 18 minutes there. So, good on them. Good for getting out there. There's a bit of weather around. Meg Lanning said at the toss. That's why they've chosen to have a bowl.
Well, there's an early surprise. Ash Gardner looks like opening the bowling from the Cathedral end.
Maybe wicket, a bit of rain on it, might skid on a little bit, especially with the new ball, with the lacquer of the white new ball. See if they can rush Danny Wyatt and Tammy Beaumont.
Well, in her career with the ball, 27 wickets at an average of just under 23, an economy rate of 6.67, and her best bowling performance was against England of 3 for 22. So Ash Gardner will start bowling around the wicket to Tammy Beaumont, 14 overs each. We've got Alana King at a short third. We've got backward point in Haynes, McGrath at cover. There's an extra cover in Carey, a mid-off in Jess Jonathan. There's a long on down there on the far side of the ground in Megan Shute. There's a square leg right beside the umpire and a short fine leg in Darcy Brown. Nicola Carey there at square leg. So we're about to get underway. 14 overs each. Second game of the Women's Ashes Series. You're with Alex Hartley and Andrew Moore on ABC and the BBC. 4 bowlers can bowl 3 overs each. 1 bowler to bowl 2 overs, and the power play lasts 4 overs. So they are the revised playing conditions. Let's do this. After a rain delay of 50 minutes. Gardner comes in well flighted, and forward comes Beaumont. Can't get a run as she just pushes it to cover, picked up by Megan Shute, dot ball. So a sedate start to this game, but you wouldn't expect that to continue for too long with a shortened game and a power play of just 4 overs. As Gardner comes in past umpire Oxenford, and Beaumont goes aerial over extra cover, and that races away for 4. Just the one-sider, if you don't mind, and she belts that away to the boundary. In fact, it's Danny White, I should say, who's belted that to the boundary. Both diminutive in stature, as you say, Alex, and I confused the two momentarily, but Danny White continuing where she left off the other night to whack that away for 4 through the air, and England no wicket for 4.
Ash Gardner's got a field set as if she's going to bowl at Danny Wyatt's pads, bowl that leg stump line, but there she just bowled middle and off, giving Wyatt her arms. White
waits again, comes down the track, and she plays it along the ground most of the way, down towards long on, and will get just the 1 run. So White moves along to 5. It's no wicket for 5. I was just confused looking at the scoreboard on our monitor to our left that had Tammy Beaumont on strike, and they're struggling to recover. But none for 5 after 3 deliveries, and now Tammy Beaumont on strike.
Yeah, I don't think the TV really knows what's going on either.
No.
It's been a mad rush for everybody.
That's the thing, it was raining. Oh no, I think it's starting to rain again. Is that rain, or is that still the smoke from the fireworks maybe? Here's Gardner back over the wicket, bowls to Beaumont, and she tucks it off her pads to short fine leg. Can't get around that run as it's fielded by Darcy Brown. Dot ball, no wicket for 5 in the first over. Tammy Beaumont, as you say, really sprung into action after being hit in the head. She ended up with 30 off 24 deliveries in that 82-run opening partnership. She waits for Gardner, short of her length, and she pulls and comes off the body, picked up by the keeper, Elisa Healy. No run.
Just rushed her a little bit, that one, Tammy Beaumont. Said it's rain, the covers have been on and off. The wicket will have been sweating a little bit. It's still quite warm out there.
Gardner to Beaumont, who plays it along the ground just wide of mid-on Talia McGrath, and they do go through for a quick single to win the first over. 6 runs coming off it. England, after being sent to bat once again, none for 6. Danny Wyatt 5, Tammy Beaumont on 1. The English team in proposed batting order: Tammy Beaumont, Danny Wyatt, then the captain Heather Knight, Nat Sever, Amy Jones, Sophia Dunkley, Catherine Brunt, Charlie Dean on debut, Sophie Eccleston, Sarah Glenn and Freya Davis. And then for the Australian side, Elisa Healy, Meg Lanning, Talia McGrath, Rachel Haynes, Ash Gardner, Grace Harris, Nicola Carey, Jess Jonathan, Alana King, Darcy Brown and Megan Shute. And a big round of applause for the local teenager, Darcy Brown, who'll open the bowling from the city end.
Did I see she got a 7 for in a double WNCL game the other day? Was that Darcy Brown? Was that another quick?
Stella Campbell.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Playing for New South Wales. 7 for not many either.
Yeah, I was going to say bowled them out for about 40.
She's in the Australian A side. which beat England A by 10 wickets yesterday at Karen Rolton Oval.
Thanks for getting that one in there.
Just purely for the information for our listeners, Alex. Here comes Darcy Brown, and she's bowling to Tammy Beaumont, slip and place. It's wide of off stump and kept a little low. Beaumont cuts, misses, not wide enough to be deemed a wide by umpire Mike Graham-Smith, so a dot ball from Darcy Brown.
Stayed low that as well, and a bit of a way swing to start from Darcy Brown. Not quite as quick as Taylor Vlemnick, but not far off.
Brown turns at the top of a mark of about 15 to 20 metres. In bowling to Beaumont, and she's back cutting, can't beat the field, straight to point. Rachel Haynes is there, no run. So on target, that was closer to the body from Darcy Brown. And the score remains England no wicket for 6 in the second over. So she's bowling about 119k an hour to start with Darcy Brown. What's deemed as legitimate pace bowler in women's cricket?
If you can bowl probably 72, 73 miles per hour.
Can you convert that for me, please? Darcy Brown bowls to Beaumont. That is a wide. And Elisa Healy drops it, diving to a right in front of slip. And they'll go through for a second run. So 2 wides for Darcy Brown. And, well, hang on. Was there a signal from the umpire? No wicket for 8. There must have been, but it wasn't very adventurous from Mike Graham-Smith, who's still looking over towards the scorers in the Sir Donald Bradman Pavilion. Danny White's taking guard. And there'll still be a slip in place. None for 8. So no ball has been deemed.
Ooh.
So it's a free hit coming up here for Danny White.
This could get the England girls going a little bit. Now I'm trying to convert this for you, but my computer's not working, so.
You're talking about the 115 to 120 mark. K an hour, that is.
Yeah.
Darcy Brown, yeah, clearly overstepping on the replay. So slip moves out. There's a deep third, backward point, cover mid-off, mid-on. And now slip has gone to just forward of square in the captain Meg Lanning, and there's a deep backward square leg. Brown on away. It's a free hit. It's a Yorker, and it's perfectly pitched up by Darcy Brown, and she couldn't clamp down on a Beaumont. Through it goes to Healy. If you're going to bowl a free hit delivery, and that was to Danny White, who tried to clamp down on it, that was about as perfect as you could get. Good
bowling that as well from Darcy Brown. We saw the Yorker tactic work an absolute treat for Talia McGrath in the previous game. Free hit, Yorker, away swing as well. Good delivery that.
England no wicket for 8 in the second over. Darcy Brown bowls wide, and it's chopped away to backward point. Confusion a little bit between the batters. Danny White doesn't get a run in the end, as the fielding was done by Rachel Haynes. Another dot ball, and in a 14 over a side game, you get the feeling whoever bowls the more dot balls are going to win the game.
Yep, 100%. And Darcy Brown, she's not quite got a line right, but the away swing is making it quite difficult for Danny Wyatt here.
Brown in again, bowls, and White comes down the track, swings and misses, but because she'd come down the track, I reckon it's not a wide. Had she held her feet, I reckon it would have been. And again, it was swinging further away. So frustration for Danny White. She's 5, Tammy Beaumont 2. 1 ball to come in the second over with England 8 without loss.
It's hard to face this because even though the ball's swinging away, it's swinging late as well.
Brown bowls to White, slip is back, and it's a flat battered shot down the ground. It's going to go for 4 directly, but oh no, it's stopped because of the rain. They come back for a second run, and the return on its way from Grace Harris, a dribbler along the ground the whole way by design. And instead of what looked like a certain 4 off the bat, it just kind of pitched. 2 runs to White, she's 7, Beaumont 2. 2 overs gone, no wicket for 10 England, and 4 runs off that second over.
And do you know what will happen in the second innings? That'll kick on and go for 4 because it'll be drier.
Yeah, well, it wasn't, in fairness, struck as true as we saw Danny White strike the ball on Thursday night. It was kind of real flat back tonk down the ground. And now Talia McGrath, who was, have you ever seen a more certain player of the match performance than what Talia produced the other night? 3 for with the ball, and then that unbeaten 91 of 49 deliveries.
I mean, imagine if it had gone to someone else.
That would have been.
It couldn't have gone to anyone else.
There would have been some headlines. Shelton John's in the house. It's nice. So now it's Tammy Beaumont taking strike to Talia McGrath. The South Australian on away. Past umpire Bruce Oxenford, swing and a miss from Tammy Beaumont. And that was an old-fashioned windy woof. Through it goes to Elisa Healy, no wicket for 10. Short third, backward point. There's a deep cover point in Megan Shute. Landing in the covers, there's a mid-off in Jonathan. Mid-on, mid-wicket, deep square leg and a short fine leg.
Just trying to hit the ball too hard, these two. I think they're feeling the pressure of facing a lot of dots. Trying to find that boundary option.
It's McGrath to Beaumont, and Tammy Beaumont pulls the ball down the leg side and misses. It's a wide taken down leg side by Lisa Healy. Good take, but a run for England. No wicket for 11. Tammy Beaumont still on 2. Liz Walsh, local journalist, has put on Twitter, it's hard to believe. This is the first time, Alex, that 3 South Australians are playing in the same game for Australia. And that's Megan Shute, Talia McGrath and Darcy Brown.
Well, they used to all be from Victoria, didn't they, back in the day?
Yeah, Victoria or New South Wales predominantly. Beamsy was one of those Victorians who hogged the Australian team.
That's why I said it.
Nice. So now Bruce Oxenford finally has the green light from the scorers to indicate that was a wide. McGrath bowls, and here's a ramp by Beaumont as well down the leg side. She missed it, but it is another wide. So England will take it. No wicket for 12 as Talia McGrath's bowled 2 in her first 3 deliveries.
Bit harsh, that wide, I thought there. So
Didn't
Tammy
mislead.
Beaumont's in her batting stance and just stepped towards the off stump to paddle it past Alyssa Healy in that short fine. I reckon that could have hit her backside had she not moved.
Here's McGrath now bowling, and she's on the back foot, but clubs it straight back to the bowler McGrath, who does well to field in the follow through. No run, and Tammy Beaumont's definitely looking frustrated. 2 from 8, normally not anything to worry about, but I'd imagine even experienced players like her appreciate the need to get a move along in a shortened game.
It's just been too many dots, and you can see the frustration. She's taking deep breaths, trying to exhale, calm herself down, but she's thinking about the boundary.
McGrath bowls. Beaumont gets a full toss and she whacks it away through mid-wicket. Beats the infield of Ash Gardner. Ball heading to the boundary, and that time it does race across the rope. So Tammy Beaumont got a loose delivery from McGrath, a full toss, and she puts it away to move to 6. England along to no wicket for 16, and that is something that she did really well in that first knock on Thursday. If she did get a bad ball, she could put it away.
Yeah, she shuffled down the pitch there as well to meet the ball on the full. She does that when she's nervous, does Tammy Beaumont. She shuffles down the pitch, and quite often bowlers bang it in short, but that's what she wants.
McGrath bowls again, short outside off stump, cut, but not placed by Beaumont. Straight to Rachel Haynes at backward point, no run. And they're the sort of shots that frustrating the batter. That was almost a long hop from McGrath, and Beaumont was onto it, but hit it straight to the field.
When you keep facing dots and you're thinking, right, just wait for the bad ball, and you hit it straight to the fielder, it's incredibly frustrating.
2 balls left in the third over. McGrath bowls a slower ball, ramped by Beaumont, didn't make much contact. Healy races in from behind the stumps, but misses with her underarm, and Beaumont had made good ground in any case, but no run again. And Tammy Beaumont, you just feel like the white noise is continuing to build between her ears out there. None for 16, 1 ball to come in the third over.
So I'm sat up here in the comms box and I'm getting nervous. I feel nervous. There's been too many dots, so I can only imagine how those two out there are fielding. Tammy Beaumont, she's still taking deep breaths, still trying to calm herself down.
There's only 7 balls left in the power play. McGrath bowls and Beaumont whips it away, but again straight to the fielder, Ash Gardner. So Tammy Beaumont is not helping England's cause at all at the moment. She's 5 off 12. And after 3 overs, England 16 without loss. The run rate just over 5 and over. Danny White is 7 off 7. On the SMS, your text messages are welcome. 0467 920 222 is that number. And Stephen, thank you. My phone tells me 72 mile an hour is 115k an hour.
There we go.
So we're about in the same ballpark. So thank you, Stephen. And your texts are welcome at any time, as Henry Moran with a great flourish indicates there's some light rain falling. Could be some musical theatre in your future, the way you handle that.
So we were doing some maths earlier, and if this game's washed out, which, you know, there's a bit of rain around, and there's a bit of rain around tomorrow, the T20s, if today and tomorrow's washed out, will be 4-2. Test match, normally a draw, which would make it 6-4. England would then have to win every single ODI to win the Ashes, because if it's a draw, Australia retain the Ashes.
It's not looking good for you, English people. Here comes Megan Shute, the shooter, the in-swinger. She's in. Down the track comes Danny White, but she checks herself. And again, straight to the fielder at backward point, Rachel Haynes. Another dot ball, and England are really digging themselves a bit of a hole here with only 5 deliveries left in the power play. Megan Shute on Thursday night, 4 overs, none for 28. 96 wickets in her T20 career. Economy rate of just over 6. Bowls down the track comes Wyatt. Doesn't quite get it, but she gets it backward of square. She may be rewarded for a boundary. No, there's a wonderful save in the outfield by Nicola Carey. Return on its way. They do get 3, but that fielding by Carey saved a run. And Danny Wyatt moves to 10, none for 19. She didn't strike it like she wanted to, but she almost placed it perfectly.
Almost did. An unbelievable effort from Carey. Diving full length to her left-hand side, right-hand side. Flicks it in. Oh, she saved the boundary there easily. Good bit of fielding.
So we're in the 4th over. 14 overs per team. 4 bowlers to bowl a maximum of 3 overs, 1 to bowl 2. So now we Shute bowling to Beaumont. There's a short third, backward point cover, mid-off, mid-on, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg, and a short fine leg. Shute bowls, and Beaumont is cutting, and she sets off immediately for the run to extra cover as Lanning moves to her left to pick up, and that was well run. They do get a single, and Beaumont moves to 6, the score along to 20 without loss in the 4th over.
Frustration from Tammy Beaumont. Hand on a hip. 6 off 13 deliveries. Danny Wyatt 10 off 9.
And it's Wyatt on strike. Shute bowl, swing and a miss from Danny Wyatt.
How that has missed the stumps. So the ball started outside the off stump. Danny Wyatt has taken a big old swing and it's missed leg stump.
Slower ball by Megan Shute. It went over middle stump. It went over middle stump. Danny Wyatt knew it after the ball had passed her bat, but she didn't pick that slower ball. And it just bounced over middle stump as Shute bowls again, and Wyatt slogs into this. It comes off an outside edge aerially down towards the vacant third area, and that's 4 runs for Danny Wyatt. So she's getting some runs without really finding the middle of the bat. She's 14 off 11, and with 1 ball to come in the 4th over, England now none for 24.
Well, we've seen Danny Wyatt play that shot to go up and over, extra cover. Slower ball again from Megan Shute. Hasn't quite executed. Thick outside edge, gets here for 4, and I'm pretty sure she'll take that.
Last ball of the power play. It's Shute bowling to Wyatt, and it comes off the top of the bat. Another slow ball from Megan Shute, and Danny Wyatt didn't know too much about it. Does well to survive, and is shaking a right hand at the end of it. End of the over, end of the power play. England no wicket for 24. Danny Wyatt 14. Tammy Beaumont 6. Here's Alana King now. The leg spin is in. Well flighted delivery. Strikes Beaumont on the pad. Wyatt calls it through for a quick run square on the offside as Haynes picks up. The rain gets heavier. This doesn't look all that promising. Oh, I hate it when the umpires look at each other.
I mean,
and they're going off.
Yeah, it's heavy.
They're going off at none for 25. Beaumont 6, Wyatt 14. Alana King had bowled just 1 delivery. Yuck. Lights are on full. It had been getting progressively darker, so they're off for rain at 2:45 local time, and we've only had 25 legal deliveries.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those days, a frustrating day. It's not cold, it's not overly cold. I mean, it's colder than it has been. But it's going to be an on-off day for the rain, as it looks like it's coming down quite heavy now as well.
I hope it's on off.
I mean, England not got off to the best start there, to be completely honest.
Oh no, there's more bad news. So there's a few things I clearly hate. One is umpires looking at each other, and the other one now is Henry Moran rushing in with his radar. And again, it looks very dark, Henry.
Doesn't it? And I'm looking at the radar pictures from the bomb and what's coming down from the north, and we've basically been in a little window, almost if you like a bay within this bank of rain, and this is what's given us this opportunity. But now we're not just getting the blue stuff coming down on the radar, and I'm going to get very technical here.
Good.
It's also the yellow and the orange.
Oh no!
You know
it's
what I
a
mean?
multicoloured.
It's the multicoloured
scenario.
So we're now moving from what is described as light into moderate and leaning towards heavy.
I like the way you describe it, but I don't like what you're describing.
I think if we just shut it, then we don't have to look at the radar.
Are you talking about Henry's mouth or his computer? I hope you're
Yeah,
talking
just
about
turn his mic off.
Excuse me, Alex. I've been here for 30 seconds. I don't need that sort of negativity in my life. But this is what we're looking at. I think it's one of those where we've been given a bit of a gap and a bit of a hopeful opportunity.
Well, Kristen Beams joins in the party. We all come together when the rain starts to fall. Beamsy, what did you make of the 4 overs and 1 ball with England no wicket for 25?
Yeah, it looked like it was tough to score. I think they put the ball in pretty good areas, and I think England would be disappointed. I think with such a short power play, knowing this is going to be a shortened game, they probably didn't get off to the start that they would have liked, and it was interesting to see how the Australians went about it. We saw Megan Shute go straight away to slower balls rather than go for that big swinging deliveries. Ash Gardner open, so it seems like they've gone away and done their homework, particularly against Danny Wyatt, to not allow her to get off to the fly that she did the other day.
The bowling figures, by the way, for Australia, and as always, Meg Lanning's been shuffling them around. There hasn't been a 2-over spell yet. Ash Gardner opened the bowling from the Cathedral end, went for 6 runs. Darcy Brown 1 over for 3, and while wasn't on target, was swinging the ball enough to upset Danny White and Tammy Beaumont. Talia McGrath 1 over for 6. Megan Shute 1 over for 8. Alana King 1 over. It was a dot ball. There was a leg by taken. Henry, just seen that they were getting, as Alex and I were saying in commentary, Tammy Beaumont in particular was getting frustrated with hitting the ball to the fielder too often.
It was like an extended version of a free hit when you get these limited overs, well, extra limited overs matches, if you like, rain-reduced games. There is such an onus to get the scoring moving, and you see it often when players have a free hit, is they try and overhit the ball, and it felt like Tammy Beaumont every single time was thinking, got to get a boundary. And if you think about how Meg Lanning operated the other night, it was such a clever way of just rotating the strike, ensuring that Talia McGrath got on strike as much as possible, because she was the aggressor. Danny White, we saw that shot over extra cover. She looked in good touch. Beaumont was trying to hit boundaries. Should she perhaps have been trying to just find those gaps, ensure that the strike kept on going, other than getting just bogged down? Because it was just, she looked frustrated.
Well, there's been gaps in the field as well. With Ash Gardner starting, there was no mid-wicket. So against an off-spinner, that's so easy to knock the ball into the leg side. Can you get used to the pitch as quick as possible? Danny Wyatt is an aggressive player. She's there to play the role that Healy does for Australia. She's there to take advantage of the power play. So, I can understand when Danny Wyatt faces a couple of dots, then hits a 4. That's how she plays her cricket. But Tammy Beaumont, she was just trying too hard, and they often say, Joss Butler at his best hits the ball the most clean when he hits the ball at 80%. He gets his weight into the ball and he doesn't try and overhit. But we saw with Tammy Beaumont there, she was just trying to hit everything. And the one she did connect, she hit really well, but straight to fielders, which adds to the frustration.
Rain falling heavier than it's done at any stage through the day. We'll keep it here for 6 or 7 minutes, and then the wonderful Karen Ty will pick up with Grandstand for listeners on the ABC at any rate, with England none for 25. 1 ball into the 5th over before the rain came. 2 changes all up, 1 to each side. Darcy Brown in for injured Taylor Belemica as a foot injury. And for England, 21-year-old off-spinner Charlie Dean in for Maya Bouchier, who suffered a knee injury on Thursday night. Such a pity. Taylor Belemic, we seem to always talk, Kristen Beams, as much or more about her injuries than what she does on the field. She's just been plagued by them in a young career. Hopefully this isn't too serious.
Yeah, and they've all been really tough injuries, and I think I felt most optimistic about Taylor Vlametic this summer based on what we saw during the WBBL. We saw her actually play every game in the WBBL, and she's been so restricted over such a long period of time coming in and out. And look, she's an absolute champion, the way that she goes about things, the way she rehabs. I've had the chance to spend quite a bit of time with her, and she's so diligent. She does everything with a smile on her face, and I think it's a certain type of player to get through that many major injuries. But I remember when she dislocated her shoulder, it was trying to stop a ball that had been whacked back at her, and you sort of think, wow, that's so unlucky. If you do an injury, you're a fast bowler, and it's doing your action, you sort of go, well, okay, that's part and parcel with the game. But she seems to find a way to have these horrible injuries from doing really obscure things.
One injury concern for England is Anya Shrubsole, the very experienced opening bowler. Do we have any news on her, Alex?
Nope, nothing. We saw on the live stream at the A game the other day, and those that were there, that she went over batting, I think it was, Beamsy. So she went over on her ankle batting, and I've not seen her since, so we have absolutely no idea.
Bit of a worry though, that for England, because you look towards that Test match, and increasingly for the last couple of years, she's picked up injuries quite regularly, and devastating bowler on her day. But if she's injured, and she's a risk of injury, they won't play her in the Test match, because you lose a bowler on day one, you are in all sorts of strife for the following 3 days. So
what are we likely to see from the English bowlers for the Test match in Canberra? I mean, here they're going with Freya Davis and Catherine Brunt, obviously Nat Siver as a first change bowler, but they rely very heavily in this form of the game on Sophie Eccleston and Sarah Glenn, 3 specialist spinners for this game tonight. What is likely to be their bowling lineup for the Test, Alex?
I think spinner-wise we'll have Eccleston. She bowled 60-odd overs in the English summer playing a Test match. And then I think Charlie Dean will probably play as a second spinner and off-spinner. Kate Cross will come into the attack. Obviously, Catherine Brunt will play. And then it's a case of do you go Tash Farron or Freya Davis if Anya Shrubsole's not available. And I think if you want maybe a like-for-like, you're going to have to play Tash Farron.
What about the Australian bowling attack, Beamsy? Well, it will tend to depend on fitness of Taylor Velemic, among other things, but what do you see as the Australian attack? How many spinners?
I don't know if this is actually what will happen or whether I just want this to happen, but I think that they should play both leg spinners. I think Amanda Jade Wellington and Alana King to play in the Test match. Elise Perry will undoubtedly come back into the side, so she'll bowl as well in that. I think they'll go with Darcy Brown, especially if there's a question mark over Velemic as well. So I think the other thing is whether they look at another pace option like a Stella Campbell. But I think when you've got Megan Shute and Elise Perry comes back in, I think that's what they'll go with. But I think that you want to have spinners in your lineup, and I think they'll go with 2 leg spinners.
And no, Jess Jonathan?
Well, I think she's already in.
She's already in.
Yeah.
As an all-rounder.
Yep.
So 3 spinners.
3 spinners.
Well,
Darcy Brown.
Is the wicket
Elise
used?
Perry.
We're going to play this one in Mumbai.
Well, the Manicure is essentially a really flat track, and for that reason I think you've got to have wicket-taking options. I don't think you can rely on... It's not a pink ball test either, so I don't think you can rely on night sessions. So I think they'll want to go in with their most attacking bowlers. Gardner I don't think will be selected, so she would be the other spin option. So I think they'll want to have those options.
Got early starts, don't we, in Canberra? Is it like 10 a.m. local time? Which also
We're
means
not
early
used to
finish.
that.
No, well, after 3 p.m. starts, or because of rain, 2:30 starts in Hobart, those days were very long, weren't they?
they were. It was bizarre. You were finishing work at about midnight, and then felt like it was a whole day to fill before you even headed to work in the afternoon. So 10 a.m. starts, that's all right. It means that we can have a nice drink early evening, head to bed by your normal time, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Oh, I'm not that old. 10:15. But midnight finish of work, that's about in keeping with when you go out anyway, isn't it, Alex?
Honestly, when we left the ground after this first T20 on Thursday night, we didn't get home till midnight, and I was like, what are we doing?
Little word from Cricket Australia that we've got on the official WhatsApp group, and that is that the latest start time now, 3:53, so that is in 55 minutes from now. So that's when we would need to be playing.
I like to be optimistic, Henry, but I'm not feeling optimistic.
I know you're the most positive person I know, and you're shaking your head.
I don't like it. Full covers are out. The rain, not as heavy as a little bit early, but it looks persistent, and it does look kind of set in. And I mean, it's nice to see some cricket, Beamsy, but we've only seen 4 overs and 1 ball.
Yeah, it feels a little bit disappointing because I really wanted to see England come into this game and really sort of go hard at Australia, so that we're not just talking about, oh, here we go again, Australia are going to go really well. So I actually think this is a really important game for England to really get themselves back into this series. So it's a shame that we've got some weather. But again, if it's a shortened game, I do think that's to England's advantage. So we get there.
We've only got 40 seconds left, Alex. But say we've got 6 overs each, whatever the minimum is. Who comes in next for England? Who can hit them? Who can slog them?
Oh, gosh, I think Sophia Dunkley, Nat Siver will come in first. Sophia Dunkley, Catherine Brunt, Sophie Eccleston can all clear the boundaries.
Okay, I like your confidence. You give me 3 that can take this game away from
Nat
Australia.
Siver will go first.
Yes. All right, there you have it. Alex Hartley, Henry Moran, Kristen Beams. I'm Andrew Moore. It's raining. The full covers are down. And England sent into bat in a 14-over-a-side game, as it was. No wicket for 25, with Danny White 14 off 12, Tammy Beaumont 6 off 14. Rest assured, whether you're listening through the ABC or the BBC, as soon as there's news, we'll bring it to you immediately from here at Adelaide Oval. And until then, we're going to hand you back to quote-unquote normal programming from Adelaide Oval. We'll be back soon, I hope.